I would say Nigeria's banking sectors weathered numerous storms, emerging as a resilient and dynamic force in Africa's financial landscape. Despite facing significant challenges such as economic volatility, regulatory changes, and evolving technological achievements, the sector continues to play a pivotal role in driving economic growth and financial inclusion. Now let's look at key trends and opportunities and risks shaping Nigeria's banking sector. Joining us for this conversation, we have Stanley Nora, as a financial inclusion expert, joining me from our Abuja studio. Great to have you on the show.
It's good to be here with you, Adi.
All right, so looking at the banking sector, we see most of the big banks declaring bumper profits. And we see it's a high interest rate environment, as the central bank is continuing that tackle on inflation. But it seems regardless of the macro headwinds, the banks in Nigeria are doing great. So how are you seeing it?
It's good times for the bank at the moment because with if you check the financials of most of the banks, you see that the net asset value of most of the banks was a major contributor to the profits that they declared. So what it meant was that as the interest rates have been improved upon, the banks can charge higher for their loans, and that translates to profits for them. So eventually you see that if you juxtapose that with what you're seeing in the manufacturing sector, it doesn't really go down as much. The banks have loan impairment that they still suffer from because of the macro headwinds that we have. But as the interest rates have been improved by the central bank, so it gives the bank more avenue to gain more interest for the loans that they offer.
Looking forward, I guess it's safe to say, because the central bank is still trying to battle inflation at this time, and from forward guidance we've seen, it seems like interest rates might still go up. If they're not able to tame inflation. So should we expect, the banks to continue, dropping all those bumper profits, going forward? Because we're going to be looking forward to the fourth quarter results. That's when we get into next year.
For the banks, at the moment, the financial institutions house the monies that we have within the economy. And as the CBN tries to curb inflation, we expect that there might still be an increase, maybe by 50 basis points by the CBN to try to curb inflation. But we're waiting for the Consumer Price Index report, and that would influence the decision of the central bank. But for the banks, they are making strides and trying to be innovative in the services that they offer. Don't forget that we have remittances that are still coming into Nigeria. Don't forget that we still have businesses that need to finance their activities, and they are constrained to still take money from the banks. And with the FX revaluation that is going on with most of the banks, because they house most of the FX that we have, so they still have an advantage as opposed to most industries in the economy. So yes, we expect to still good results from them.
Right. I guess as most companies that we see in the consumer goods sector, we're seeing those ones are struggling, but the banks are doing really strong. Well, let's look at capital raising now. We see most of the banks have completed their rights issue, at this time. But the latest now is FBNH looking to raise about 149 billion. And the bank plans to utilize the 149 billion raised in strengthening capital adequacy to meet the CBN's mandates, expanding lending across corporate and retail segments, enhancing digital infrastructure in a competitive market. But looking at the season right now, do you think investors are still keen on piling cash into the rights issue?
Yes, if you were to check the performance of some of the banks, so if you use Fidelity, for example, you'd gained, if you invested in Fidelity shares, as at when it was offered, you had made appreciable gains from your investment. And that is what a lot of people are looking at. What is the investment opportunity for me? And, capital appreciation. Now, FBN, on the other hand, you have a very major force in the person of Femi Otedola. and he's not somebody that you will joke with. When he makes investment decisions, a lot of people follow suit. So I think that would be a great driver for a lot of people that will want to invest in FBN. As the chairman of FBN currently, he's going to be a major driver why a lot of people, will still pile up cash with the bank.
And, do you see high demand for, subscription when it comes to, this latest rights issue?
Like I mentioned, if you were to follow the trajectory so, for example, Femi Otedola, who is the current chairman, what he did, he upped his shares to about 9.4%. And what that tells you is that he's putting his faith in that. And I know a number of people within the economy that follow just that trajectory, that, wherever this man is going, he has seen light somewhere. You remember when he left the position from oil and gas and divested into Gerku, the power station, and you've seen the tremendous return on value that he has brought into that company. So a lot of people expect to see that similar return in the banking sector. Currently, he holds, if I'm correct, he holds the second largest share in any financial institution after Jimovia. And that tells you a lot about the faith that he has going forward in the banking sector within Nigeria. And like I mentioned, a lot of people follow his investment philosophy and expect to see the right issues being subscribed.
And what do you think he's seeing? Yes. What do you think he's seeing in the banking sector? Because I know some traders, they like to follow what the whales are doing. So what do you think he's seeing, in the banking sector?
Okay, so as an overview, you will notice that there've been a bit of hitches here and there. For the banks that have been trying to upgrade their systems, we've been having the likes of Sterling, Zenith, GT upgrading their systems and trying to bring the best experience to their customers. That has come with a number of hitches because moving your system from one core banking application to another is not a day's job. And the contingency plans that they have, I don't know if it's failed some of them. But what we have seen is that there have been challenges in that. But as a whole, as the industry, what we expect to see is that we expect to still see growth. We expect to see a lot of innovation. You see that most of them are trying not to lean towards just the traditional system of making money, of interest income, and they're trying to get fees and commissions, and in every other way that they can generate as much value for shareholders and the bank. So yes, I'm still optimistic on the banking sector.
All right, definitely. We'll keep tracking to see how that sector performs. That's on the NGX. Well, thank you so much. It was great having your perspective, Stanley Onora, financial inclusion expert. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here.